You still doing that little court stuff? My uncle smirked across the table. The whole room laughed like I was some hobbyist with a briefcase. They didn't know the next courtroom they'd walk into would be mine. My name is Clara Evans, I'm 31 and I'm a public defender in Raleigh, North Carolina. At family dinners, my cousins, corporate lawyers, and my uncle, a judge, mocked me as the family underachiever, dismissing my work for low-level clients. They didn't know I'd been building a landmark case for years, one tying back to their own shady dealings. When my voice echoed through the courtroom speaker, delivering a verdict that shook their world, their laughter died. It started last fall at a family dinner at my uncle's Raleigh estate. The dining room gleamed with crystal and smug smiles. My uncle, Judge Raymond Holt, presided over the table like a courtroom. My cousins, Natalie and Ethan, corporate attorneys for Holt and Pierce, bragged about million-dollar deals. Mom beamed at them. "You're making us proud," she said. Dad nodded, then turned to me. "Clara still stuck with petty cases?" Natalie smirked. "Public defenders are basically charity workers." Ethan laughed. "Low-level stuff, right?" I sipped my wine silent. They thought I was small-time, but I was building a case that would hit them where it hurt. The truth? I wasn't just a public defender. I'd spent 3 years on a pro bono case against Pierce Development, a real estate giant linked to Holt and Pierce, accused of defrauding low-income tenants. My client, Maria Lopez, had been evicted illegally, her evidence pointing to forged leases tied to Natalie's firm. I'd uncovered emails linking Ethan to the scheme and a court filing signed by Uncle Raymond, fast-tracking evictions. My work was meticulous: depositions, financial records, and a whistleblower from Pierce. My family saw me as a failure, but I held evidence that could unravel their empire. Natalie's jabs sharpened at Christmas. "Clara still saving the poor?" she asked, passing the gravy. Mom chuckled. "Nat's closing deals with senators." Dad added, "Your cases don't even make the news, Clara." I smiled, hiding my anger. I'd just deposed a Pierce exec who confirmed Ethan's role in the fraud. They thought I was chasing petty thieves, but I was chasing their secrets. My evidence included Maria's lease, Pierce's forged documents, and an email from Ethan to a developer. "Push the tenants out fast." I was ready to take it to court. The turning point came when my case was scheduled for a high-profile trial in Raleigh, set to be live-streamed due to public interest. Uncle Raymond would preside, unaware his name was in my evidence. Natalie and Ethan planned to attend, expecting to watch me flop. I saw my chance, not just to win for Maria but to expose their hypocrisy in a public courtroom. The verdict would hit their firm and their reputation. I wasn't seeking revenge but justice. I prepared meticulously, knowing their influence could sway perceptions if I wasn't airtight. I had Maria's testimony, the whistleblower's affidavit, and financial records showing Pierce's profits from illegal evictions. My friend Alex Reed, a legal investigator, had dug up Ethan's emails. "Clara, this is dynamite," he said over coffee in Raleigh. "Why let them mock you?" I leaned forward, my voice low. "They'll hear my name in court." Alex had a recording of a Pierce exec admitting to the fraud, gold for my case. I needed to ensure my evidence landed hard. I emailed my co-counsel, Sarah Klein, requesting to deliver the closing argument myself. "I've built this case," I wrote. "I want to finish it." She replied, "It's yours, Clara. Make it count." Alex connected me with a Raleigh Times reporter, Lisa Nguyen, covering the trial. I sent an anonymous tip. "The public defender's case will shock Raleigh. Watch the verdict." Lisa replied, "I'm there. Sounds explosive." I wanted their shock live-streamed. I kept up the underachiever act, filing routine motions while Natalie texted, "Don't embarrass us in court, Clara." I replied, "Just doing my job, Nat." They didn't know I'd be facing them in Uncle Raymond's courtroom. I practiced my closing, linking their names to the fraud without emotion. I wanted justice, not drama. I studied North Carolina tenant law, confirming my case was airtight. My evidence, Lisa's emails, affidavits, would hold. The night before the trial, I stood in my apartment reviewing my notes, the Pierce emails spread across my desk. My evidence was backed up on a USB and cloud server. I texted Alex, "Ready?" He replied, "You're about to bury them." My family thought I was a hobbyist lawyer. Tomorrow my voice would echo through the courtroom speaker. Hey, if you're hooked on this story, hit that subscribe button for Revenge Line. We bring you epic family drama and revenge tales every week. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Stay tuned because Claire is about to own that courtroom. The trial in Raleigh, North Carolina, was just days away, and I, Clara Evans, was in my small apartment, preparing to deliver a landmark case against Pierce Development that would expose my family's shady dealings. My cousins, Natalie and Ethan, corporate lawyers at Holt & Pierce, and my uncle, Judge Raymond Holt, had mocked me as a low-level public defender, dismissing my work for indigent clients. They didn't know I'd spent 3 years building a case against Pierce, tied to their firm for defrauding tenants like my client, Maria Lopez. With evidence linking Natalie, Ethan, and even Raymond to the fraud, I was ready to let my voice echo through the courtroom speaker, silencing their laughter. I'd spent weeks fortifying my case, knowing my family's influence and Holt & Pierce's resources could sway perceptions if I wasn't airtight. I had Maria's testimony, detailing her illegal eviction, and a whistleblower's affidavit from Pierce's accounting department, exposing forged leases. Financial records showed millions in profits from displaced tenants, tied to Natalie's contracts. Emails from Ethan to a developer read, "Push them out fast, no paper trail." A court filing signed by Uncle Raymond fast-tracked the evictions, suspiciously bypassing review. My legal investigator Alex Reed had uncovered these, saying over coffee in Raleigh, "Clara, this could tank their firm." I nodded, my voice low. And their egos. I needed to ensure my evidence landed hard. I emailed my co-counsel Sarah Klein, requesting to deliver the closing argument myself. "This is my case," I wrote. "I want to tie it to Holt & Pierce." She replied, "You've got it, Clara. Make it public." Alex connected me with Lisa Nguyen, a Raleigh Times reporter covering the trial. I sent another anonymous tip. "The public defender's case will expose corruption. Watch the closing." Lisa replied, "Cameras are ready." I wanted Natalie's and Ethan's shock live-streamed, their smugness crumbling before Raleigh's elite. At a family brunch before the trial, I played the underachiever. The restaurant buzzed with chatter about Natalie's latest merger and Ethan's golf game with a senator. Mom gushed, "You two are unstoppable." Dad turned to me. "Clara, still doing those little cases?" Natalie smirked, passing the bread. "Public defenders are so quaint." Ethan laughed. "Your clients can't even pay you." I smiled, saving Natalie's text, "Don't flop in court, Clara." They didn't know I'd be facing Uncle Raymond, their judge, with evidence implicating them. I dropped hints saying, "Work's been intense," but Mom chuckled. "Intense paperwork?" Their ignorance was my weapon. I needed allies to strengthen my case. Alex agreed to testify about his findings, including the Pierce XX recording admitting to fraud. "You've got a slam dunk," he said over a secure call. "I'll back you." I also contacted Maria's neighbor, Carla Diaz, another evicted tenant, who'd seen Pierce's agents forge her lease. "They ruined us," Carla said. "I'll tell the court." Her testimony, paired with financial records, would tie Holt & Pierce to the scheme. Their support was my shield. Natalie's charm wouldn't stand against facts. I prepared my closing argument, a surgical strike linking Pierce's fraud to my family. I outlined Maria's eviction, the forged leases, and Ethan's emails, with a nod to Raymond's biased rulings. I included the whistleblower's affidavit and Alex's recording, framing Holt & Pierce as the architects. One slide, anonymized, showed Natalie's text, "Public defenders are charity workers." My delivery was sharp, professional, designed to expose without emotion. I practiced in my apartment, pacing before a mirror, my voice steady but forceful. I wasn't there to fight, I was there to win. The defense team, led by Holt & Pierce's Victor Lang, tried to intimidate me. Lang emailed, "Drop this case, Ms. Evans. You're out of your depth." I replied, "See you in court, Victor." I studied North Carolina tenant law, confirming Pierce's violations were prosecutable. My evidence, leases, emails, affidavits, recordings, was bulletproof. I also reviewed Raymond's rulings, noting his pattern of favoring developers. My case would force him to recuse or face scrutiny. My family sensed trouble. At the brunch, Natalie cornered me. "Clara, don't make a fool of yourself in court," she said, her tone sharp. I shrugged, clearing plates. Just doing my job, Nat. Ethan texted later. Stay in your lane, Clara. I saved it, adding it to my evidence. Their arrogance fueled me. They thought I was a hobbyist. Dad called, his voice stern. Don't embarrass the family, Clara. I smiled into the phone, silent. I needed media to amplify the moment. Lisa and Wen's crew would livestream the trial with access to Raleigh's news outlets. I sent another tip. The public defender's closing will shock the city. Lisa replied, we're locked in. I wanted Raymond's bias and Natalie's smugness exposed live. I also contacted the Raleigh Tenant Union, sending a note. The Pierce case will set precedent. Watch the trial. They replied, we're rallying supporters. My evidence was backed up on a USB and cloud server, ready for any challenge. I spent nights refining my presence, reviewing my notes in a gray suit, professional but understated. I prepared a statement for after the verdict, explaining my case without gloating. I wanted justice for Maria, not drama. The trial's docket listed me as C. Evans, public defender, perfect for my low profile until the closing. My evidence would speak louder than their laughter. The day before the trial, I got a call from Sarah Klein. Clara, Raymond's presiding. Your evidence will force his hand. My heart raced. She confirmed my moment. I packed my briefcase loaded with Pierce's emails and Maria's lease. I texted Alex, it's time. He replied, you're about to shake Raleigh. I called Carla, confirming her testimony. They'll choke when you win, she said, laughing. I stood in my apartment, staring at Raleigh's skyline. My family thought I was a side note. Tomorrow my name would echo through the courtroom speaker. Hey, if you're loving this revenge story, smash that subscribe button for Revenge Line. We drop epic family drama and takedowns every week. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Stay tuned because Claire's about to run that courtroom. The courtroom in Raleigh, North Carolina, hummed with anticipation, its gallery packed with tenant advocates, reporters, and a livestream camera broadcasting to local news outlets. I, Clara Evans, stood at the plaintiff's table in my gray suit, my briefcase loaded with evidence against Pierce Development, the real estate giant tied to my cousin's firm, Holt & Pierce. My cousins, Natalie and Ethan, corporate lawyers, and my uncle, Judge Raymond Holt, had mocked me as a low-level public defender, dismissing my work for clients like Maria Lopez. They didn't know my case, built over 3 years, linked their names to a tenant fraud scheme. Today, my voice would echo through the courtroom speaker, delivering a verdict that would silence their laughter. My allies, legal investigator Alex Reed and tenant Carla Diaz, sat behind me ready to testify. Lisa Nguyen, a Raleigh Times reporter, was in the press pool, her camera crew capturing every moment. Natalie and Ethan sat in the gallery, expecting to watch me flop under Uncle Raymond's gavel, unaware their names were in my evidence. My folder held Maria's testimony, a whistleblower's affidavit, Ethan's emails, and Raymond's biased court filing. I was ready to serve justice, cold and public. The trial began, Judge Raymond Holt presiding with his usual authority. My co-counsel Sarah Klein opened, outlining Pierce's illegal evictions. Natalie whispered to Ethan, loud enough for the gallery to hear, Clara's little charity case won't last. I stood calm, my evidence ready. Sarah presented Maria's forged lease, showing Pierce's fraud. The defense, led by Holt and Pierce's Victor Lang, scoffed. Evans is out of her depth, he said, smirking at Natalie. I met Alex's eyes, his nod firm. The cameras rolled, Lisa and Wen's crew zooming in. Maria testified first, her voice steady. Pierce evicted me with a fake lease. Clara found the proof. I projected the forged document, tied to Holt and Pierce's contracts. Carla followed, detailing her eviction. I saw their agents swap my lease, she said. I showed financial records, millions in profits from displaced tenants, linked to Natalie's deals. The gallery murmured, advocates cheering. Ethan stood, his voice sharp. This is nonsense. Clara's just a public defender. I turned, my tone calm. Check the emails, Ethan. They're yours. I presented Ethan's email to a developer. Push them out fast, no paper trail. The room gasped, cameras catching Natalie's face paling. Alex testified, playing a recording of a Pierce exec admitting to the fraud, orchestrated by Holt and Pierce. Clara uncovered this, he said, holding up the whistleblower's affidavit. I showed Raymond's filing, fast-tracking evictions without review. Sarah moved to recuse him, citing bias. Raymond's eyes widened, his voice tight. I'll remain impartial. I leaned forward, my voice low. Your signature's on their fraud, uncle. The defense faltered, Lang stammering. This is speculation. I projected a slide, anonymized, showing Natalie's text. Public defenders are charity workers. The gallery chuckled, some glaring at her. I delivered my closing, my voice echoing through the speaker. Pierce development with Holt and Pierce, defrauded tenants like Maria Lopez. Ethan's emails prove intent. Natalie's contracts enabled it. Judge Holt's rulings protected it. I held up the affidavit. This isn't charity, it's justice. The room fell silent, cameras zooming. Natalie shouted, she's lying. Raymond banged his gavel. Order. Judge Holt recessed, then recused himself, citing conflict. A new judge, Evelyn Carter, took over. She reviewed my evidence, leases, emails, recordings, and ruled in Maria's favor, ordering Pierce to pay $5 million in restitution and voiding the evictions. The verdict echoed through the speaker. Case won by Clara Evans, public defender. The gallery erupted, advocates cheering. Lisa Nguyen's crew caught Ethan slumping, Natalie frozen. The live stream went viral, trending as Raleigh defender exposes fraud. Raymond called later, his voice shaky. Clara, I didn't know. I cut him off, my eyes firm. You signed their filings without asking me. Natalie texted, how could you do this? Ethan emailed, you ruined us. I didn't reply, they'd mocked me for years. The Raleigh Times headline read, Public Defender's Case Crushes Corporate Fraud. Holt and Pierce faced a state investigation, their reputation shattered. I was offered a lead role at the public defender's office, championing tenant rights. I stood outside the courthouse, Raleigh's skyline glowing, Maria's lease in my hand. The tenant union chanted my name, calling me their defender. Natalie and Ethan avoided my gaze, their smugness gone. Dad invited me to dinner, offering apologies. Clara, we underestimated you, he said. I replied, my voice steady. You laughed when I wasn't looking. My work speaks now. They called me a hobbyist. My name echoed through the courtroom speaker and justice spoke louder. Hey, if you loved this epic takedown, smash that subscribe button for Revenge Line. We drop the best family drama and revenge stories every week. Comment below and tell us where you're watching from. Thanks for joining us.